Ciao and furthermore ciao, I'm Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian and welcome back to another iteration of content from the Venice Film Festival. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. The Korean director Park Chan-wook brings to Venice a movie with his usual effortlessly fluent, steely confidence and a certain type of storytelling momentum which can accommodate all kinds of weird digressions, set pieces and the occasional trance-like submission to mysterious visions. No other choice. It starts out like an Ealing comedy caper and then somehow morphs into something else. A portrait of family dysfunction, fragile masculinity and the breadwinner crisis. The state of the nation itself. A story based on Donald Westlake's satirical horror thriller novel The Axe from 1997, previously filmed in 2005 by Costa Gavras, to whom this film is dedicated. It may not be Park's masterpiece, but it is the best film in the Venice competition so far.
여기 적힌 것들 자제하기, 아빠 취직할 때까지, 테니스 포기, 당신 분재 잡지 끊고, 그리고 우리 집.
어?
당신도 할 수 있어. 최고의 면접이 될 거야. 다 죽여버려. 죽여버려.
The scene is a perfect family home, where the man of the house, Yoo Man-soo, played by Korean star Lee Byung-hun, is benignly presiding over a late summer barbecue in the garden, grilling some eels, given to him, in fact, by the new American owners of the paper factory where he is employed. Adoringly looking on are his wife Miri, Son Ye-jin, her teen son from a previous marriage, and their daughter, a cello prodigy, and their two lovely Labradors. But those eels of his are in fact a heartless and misjudged part of his payoff, because the new American masters are driving through brutal redundancies and Man-soo is fired. He's devastated, but quite without the emotional language to express or even personally understand how profound this loss is to him. He is fanatically desperate to reclaim his manhood in the eyes of his wife, his children and his pets by getting a new job in the paper industry in just 3 months before his severance pay runs out. But it is quite impossible. So a brilliant idea occurs to him. He sets up a phony recruitment ad in a paper industry trade magazine, asking for employees for an exciting new but bogus paper company. With inspired cunning, Man-soo makes it clear that as a paper firm committed to the product, he will accept, on principle, no online applications. It has to be on paper via the post, thus creating no digital trail for the crime he intends to carry out. Using all the personal information that these trusting applicants will send him in the mail, Man-soo will murder them all, thus creating a string of job vacancies in the cases of applicants who are in jobs themselves, and in the case of the unemployed, a reduction in the amount of competition. When once asked if he might try employment outside the paper industry, Man-soo stubbornly said that he had no other choice. And the American bosses said they had no other choice but to bring down the wage bill. Now Man-soo has no other choice but mass murder. At first it looks like a serial killer comedy in the style of, say, Kind Hearts and Coronets, or a salaryman shame nightmare in the vein of Laurent Cante's Time Out. But in fact Park refuses our expectations. Man-soo does not chaotically, but somehow also methodically work through his victim base as we might expect. In fact, he stalls pretty early on. Other narrative priorities come to the surface. We discover, for example, that the house, which they are naturally in danger of losing due to mortgage default, was Man-soo's old childhood home and the site of a profound trauma connected to his late father, a pig farmer. One of his victims, in fact, gets trussed up as compactly as a pig, an unforgettably nasty image. So all this might be only tangentially connected to his sacking. There are subplots of family disarray which loom out of the screen quite as importantly as Man-soo's bizarre homicide campaign. Miri has to get a job as a dental hygienist to pay the bills, assisting a dentist whom Man-soo of course suspects has designs on her, and instantly gets a psychosomatic toothache which he naturally refuses point blank to get treated. The thought of his wife's suspected lover, assisted by his wife, bending over his open mouth is, of of course, unthinkable. Then his son is accused of stealing mobile phones from a store owned by an obnoxious neighbour. It is the son who witnesses his dad doing something very, very, very strange in the greenhouse, which is to be the site of a sensationally odd dream sequence, whose pure inexplicability seeps into the rest of the film. And throughout it all, a deadpan note of knockabout black comedy is never entirely absent. What on earth does it all mean? Some final extraordinary images of high-tech paper production and eco-devastation perhaps gesture at the meaning. Mechanization is coming. The algorithm is king. People are less important, and our human intentions and human agency are descending into farcical irrelevance. And that's it for another day on the mean streets of Venice. It's the tramonto of this vlog. Please give it a like and a share on your all-important socials. Please subscribe and leave a comment, and please, because being needy and desperate like this isn't at all unattractive, please buy my book, a collection of short fiction called The Body in the Mobile Library and Other Stories. Please read it and tell me what you think. See you here tomorrow.